Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cruising with Matthew. In this video, I'm going to tell you all about our incredible Premier Suite, which we were lucky enough to stay in for our media trip on board Fred Olsen's Bolette in November 2023. So I really hope you enjoy this video. For this gifted media trip, we were allocated cabin 7003, a PS grade Premier Suite on deck 7 of Bolette. We were amazed to find out that this was actually the second highest grade of cabin on board the entire ship, so we were so excited to stay in what would be our biggest cabin to date. So without further ado, let's take a look around. Walking into this cabin, you initially head into the hallway area. This features a cabinet with a whole load of mirrors in it, which makes this cabin feel even bigger. One such mirror hides the glasses cupboard, so make sure you keep an eye out for that if you fancy a drink. There are also some reusable thermal flasks which can be used for the duration of your cruise, such as when you go ashore or when you're exploring the ship. There's also a large marble countertop which we used to put tickets and copies of the Daily Times so we didn't lose them. Underneath, there's a number of cupboards and drawers. Here you'll find your safe, which can be used to store all your valuables for the duration of your cruise. Nearby there is the cabin's mini fridge, which contained a fully stocked minibar. Even though this is a suite, the minibar is not complimentary. However, you can always ask to have this removed by your cabin steward. Opening another cupboard reveals what I presume to be a bottle holder which gradually filled up throughout our cruise. This is because you are given a welcome bottle of bubbly to enjoy, as well as a complimentary bottle of spirits per person when staying in a Premier Suite, so this space was much appreciated. On the opposite side of the cabinet is a large table which had lots of documents and folders filled with important information about the cabin, Bolette herself, and what was included in the Sweet Dreams package. There's also a large lamp which has a USB socket fitted into the base, which was much needed given the lack of sockets elsewhere in the cabin. I also appreciated the large amount of floor space underneath the table, as it was a great spot to put our shoes in. The next part of the cabin is the living room area, which features a large 3-seater sofa. This was so comfortable, and it was a great spot to cozy up and read a book on a sea day. This can also double up as a sofa bed if you have a third person sharing in the cabin. Adjacent is a side table which has one of the cabin's telephones, as well as a large lamp with another USB socket at its base. The side table also has several shelves within it, so I imagine if someone was using the sofa bed, this could essentially act as an extra bedside table. In front of the sofa, there's a large coffee table, which has fresh flowers as well as a fruit bowl. Here is also where you'll get daily canapes at 5 PM every day, in the unlikely event you're hungry between meals. This was a lovely little indulgence, and we were so impressed that, after mentioning to the steward about Yean's dairy intolerance, they quickly adapted the canapes to make sure that Yean could enjoy them too, so that was a really nice touch by Fred Olsen. This cabin also has a live plant within it too. I don't know why it made me so happy, but there you go. Next up is the cabin's extensive bedroom area, which features a massive king-size bed, and this was absolutely incredible to sleep in. A slightly quirky feature was the fact that the duvets are actually separated into 2 individual sets. This actually worked out really well for me and Yean, as it meant that Yean didn't steal the covers like he does more often than not at home, so this quirk was actually much appreciated. Now, each side of the bed has its own bedside table to store various items, and we felt like these were a great size. On the right hand side of the bed, there's also yet another telephone if you require it. The cabin's lights can also be controlled from here, as well as a small nightlight above each side of the bed. However, my biggest gripe here was the lack of any power sockets or even USB ports. This meant that you had to charge your phone on one of the USB ports around the cabin, or you had to have a battery pack to keep your phone by your bed. On a more positive note, there is a ton of storage space in this area of the cabin, with a multitude of drawers and cupboards situated on the right hand side of the bed. As a result, I doubt you're ever going to run out of storage space in this cabin, even on a world cruise. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's more drawer space here than in my own house, so needless to say, I don't think we even filled half of these for our 15-night cruise. Above, you'll also find a large amount of desk space, which is also where the cabin's tea and coffee making facilities are. Although the kettle was much appreciated, I think that for such a high grade of cabin, you should have something like your own coffee machine to make it that bit more special. Close to the bed is a decently sized smart TV, which can actually swing out and give you a better angle to watch TV in bed. Although, to be honest, we were so busy during this cruise, I don't think we ever turned this on once, beside to look at the muster drill. Now, moving into the wardrobe area of the cabin, there are so many mirrors here. Behind some of these mirror panels, there are several large wardrobes, which give you lots of hanging space. Features include your pool towels, which are present in all cabins, as well as complimentary umbrellas for the duration of your cruise, as well as some lovely fluffy dressing gowns and slippers, which are part of the Fred Olsen Sweet Dreams package. These cabins also offer a shoe shine service, but none of my shoes are fancy enough for that in my opinion. In these wardrobes, you'll also find the cabin's laundry bag, and as a suite guest, you get £10 of laundry credit for every week of your cruise. As a result, halfway through our cruise, we opted for a wash and fold service, which costs £16. Opposite, there is a large vanity desk. Here you'll find yet more drawer space, as well as the cabin's hairdryer, which Yeyan said was a good quality hairdryer. You do have a couple of USB plug sockets here, as well as a 2-prong European socket. Next up, we'll go into the bathroom, and this had its own whirlpool bath and shower. This definitely felt extra special, and I really enjoyed using the whirlpool bath. Although, a word of warning, don't put any bubbles in there, as they get everywhere. My only issue with the bath and shower was that there were no toiletries which were at bath height, so I felt that was a little bizarre. Likewise, I wasn't a massive fan of the fabric shower curtain either, as it detracted from the overall high quality appearance of this bathroom. Around the sink area, there's plenty of space to store all your toiletries, whether it be around the sink itself or on the nearby shelves. Now, last but certainly not least is the cabin's incredible balcony. It is just massive, almost excessively so. In addition to the balcony being really impressive, the depth of the balcony meant that even when it was raining, we rarely got wet, and it helped shelter us from any gusts. This was much appreciated as we sailed through a rather tumultuous Bay of Biscay on our way down to the Mediterranean. There's also a ton of deck furniture to help you make the most of this incredible balcony space. This includes a table and 4 chairs, as well as some padded deck chairs and footrests. My biggest gripe about the balcony and the cabin as a whole is the fact that Fred Olsen is one of the few lines allowing smoking on balconies. I found this really disappointing, and on 1 or 2 occasions, although thankfully rare, we could smell cigarette smoke on our balcony. I find it quite bizarre that Fred Olsen still have this policy, and it's one that I really hope they stop doing in the near future. It's also important to note that our cabin was as far forward as you could get on this deck, with the exception of the Olsen suite. As a result, we did feel the motion of the ocean when the ship was encountering choppy weather. Now, this didn't bother us at all, as we don't get seasick really. However, if you are sensitive to seasickness, I'd recommend choosing a Premier suite that was more midships in order to mitigate any movement you should feel if your cruise encounters some choppy seas. Overall, this cabin was absolutely incredible. With the exception of a lack of plugged or USB sockets near the beds and Fred Olsen's policy of allowing smoking on balconies, I would say this cabin was probably the best I've ever stayed in. It has an incredible amount of space, so much so I'm pretty sure it's bigger than the downstairs portion of my house. Although it is not the most modern suite I've ever seen, it had everything we could ask for, and it felt very welcoming and homely after a busy day of exploring. So if you're going to stay in one of these suites, you are going to be spoilt rotten, and I'm so thankful to Fred Olsen for gifting me this amazing cabin. One thing's for certain, our usual choice of inside cabin is going to feel rather lackluster after this. So there you have it, our tour of our Premier Suite on board Fred Olsen's Bolette, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, then please like and subscribe, as it's always appreciated. If you want to know more about cruising with Matthew, then check out my other social media sites, the links are in the description below. I hope that you're all doing well at the moment, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. So until next time, this is Cruising with Matthew, and thank you so much for watching.